Welcome back, you guys. Tonight we have a pretty interesting build video overall. I think you're really gonna like it. This is some stuff that we've already done before, but no doubt it's gonna be a really clean build, and we happen to have some parts here that we're gonna talk about here in a moment that are gonna go on this particular build, and overall I think it's gonna be a really nice build. Let's set this aside. I kinda wanted to give a shout out real quick to the customer because they ended up sending us a couple of bottles. Now, what's most important about this is that it's actually from Florida. They're from Florida. Really cool over there. Let's show you guys the other one as well before we jump into this build. So we end up having the blueberry here, so that's gonna be pretty interesting as well. Definitely cool. So not going to be able to break these open until the build's done. We just want to make sure that the work turns out accordingly. So we're going to set these aside. They're still sealed. We won't be drinking on the job, at least not today. So let's get back to the build. Let's talk about this a little bit more. Let's give you guys a better understanding of what you're going to be viewing as it unfolds. So we're going to end up doing an optic cut to the rear. We're going to remove that rear dovetail, front of optic dovetail. So this is going to get a nice upgrade in the back zone. We're going to end up doing a shave the front side. So we're going to be doing a tapered front side. This is all going to come off. This is all going to come off on this side as well. And then what we're going to end up doing is a hive top. So we're going to see some nice barrel and a cobra nose. So overall, really cool. I think it's going to be really cool the way that it's going to play together overall. Clean sides, hive top. Now, most importantly this was the special order on the coloring. So we're going to end up going with the Noveski green from Cerakote. So interesting, we haven't seen that color. I know that you guys will be excited to see that. Now, we also happen to have some other parts here that are going to be upgraded for this build. We've got an upgraded front sight. We end up having the upgraded rear Glock sight that's going to have a dovetail in front of the rear iron. We've got some other small things here. We've got a couple different screws that we're going to make a decision on what screws we want to use for the optic. And then most importantly, we actually have a Faxon barrel, which actually be one of their, I guess it's like, some companies call this like a chameleon or an oil slick or a multicolor. Pretty interesting. So we're going to be able to see a lot of this barrel out through the top of that slide. Overall, I think it's going to be really cool. Of course, the customer also sent us the Trigicon with the battery, so we happen to have all the parts here to do our build. Guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to jump over to the Tormach 770. Let's go ahead and crank out this slide work. We're going to go ahead and get it colored. We're going to see what it looks like in that Noveski green, something that we just haven't seen before. We're going to get all that stuff put back together, see how it comes out. Alright guys, let's take a look and see exactly how this came out. Super nice. Let's just kind of review that work real quickly here. Optic in the back, removing that factory dovetail, adding the Glock to the front of that. We want to keep that rear iron sight. Upgraded this to the matching night sight by Ameriglow. Super nice combination there overall, allowing us to co-witness with that Trigicon. We shaved those sides down right down through here. Very clean. Ended up doing the cobra nose. We ended up doing that hive cut on the top. We ended up going with that Noveski Bazooka green is what it is. Really an interesting color. Didn't really know what we were going to get once we spray that, because sometimes, you know, a lot of people see a color online and it's just a color code. So it's just a little square, they see a picture and they don't understand that, you know, once you start adding things like hardener to it, which it does have a tone, you end up seeing a little bit of a pigment change from bottle to actual workpiece. And it's really good for you guys to have the opportunity to follow us on Instagram and to look through our pictures on the webpage and on our Facebook, because we end up having a lot of the pictures, and you know, a lot of you guys will say, what's that? And then I'll give you a color code. You're able to add that to your cart whenever you check out. So there's a lot of opportunities there to really get a feel for what color you're after. But one of the things that I wanted to do here is just kind of put the barrel back in. I want to kind of show it to you guys as a whole. I also want to talk a little bit about the challenges that we have with the 2.0 slides. Let's go ahead and drop that Faxon barrel in here. Really, really nice. Overall, I'm liking the color combination there. Let's go ahead and drop this in here. We're gonna go ahead and put the spring back on just to make sure that we don't lose the barrel or the barrel's not flopping around in there. And let's go ahead and put this compact back on the end. Now, I don't know if this is one of theirs or if this is some sort of an aftermarket piece. We're starting to see a lot more of these larger ones that kind of go back over the barrel a little bit. So real interesting. I'm definitely starting to see a lot more of this design come out. I can't imagine they're all from the same manufacturer. So I think we're just starting to see a lot of different makes, or I guess I should say models from different companies that are making them now. So let's talk about a little bit about the hurdles of the 2.0. So one of the things that you're going to notice on our 2.0s is that they're really kind of limited on what we do. Guys, what I'm gonna do here is instead of holding this, I'm actually just gonna grab a hanger. Got one right here on the wall. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this down here. Then we can go ahead and put this on here, and that way I don't have to kind of stand so close behind the camera. So we're kind of just working through this one as we do it. But guys, one of the challenges that we have with the 2.0s is that the engravings on the left and right hand side, specifically the left hand side, seem to be pretty deep for the 2.0s, considering the walls are significantly thinner than what would be a Generation 1, or as a lot of us call it, the 1.0. So we run into a lot of issues where when you start shaving down the sides or adding side patterns to the top, you start talking about thin walls, you start talking about how deep do we need to go in order to remove the existing engravings. So there is a lot of opportunity, as I call it, for failure. Okay, or for missed opportunity. So what I mean by that is you cut it too deep, we have too thin walls, now we have a structural problem. We end up deciding that we're not going to cut it deep enough, and what we end up is existing text left over. So some of the patterns that we have, we do our best to try to remove that. I want to show this to you guys just a little bit closer. So as you guys look down through here, we got a little bit of light on here. You're going to see real nice clean side. We're not seeing any of that text left over. And let's check this side. And what we end up running into is that on some of the designs, it's really hard to remove the existing text with the wall thickness, because you can kind of see how thick these walls are right here. As you look through the hole, as you look through the side, you can kind of see the actual thickness of the wall. So we happen to see a lot of companies out there on the market that kind of just do the work. We've got text left over. There has been cases where we've cut something and one of our patterns has maybe missed a little bit of text. We'll try to do a cleanup, but overall we do our best to try to remove that text. Unless it's a weird circumstance, or if we happen to have found an M&P that came to us that was engraved deeper than the rest of them, which we have seen, usually you'll get your gun back and there really is very little fragmentation left over from existing engravings. But we happen to see a lot of companies out there that just cut through them, and all of a sudden there's these big letters left on the side. They don't really care about them. They kind of don't even really try to hide them. And the point I'm getting here with you guys is, if you haven't been following us, you need to, because you're going to find out that the quality of work seems to be significantly higher than other companies that are offering the same kind of work or the same similarity of work. So that's really what we push for here. We are after quality and not so much quantity. So we end up doing a lot of specific builds, what our customers are after. We try to target that exact pattern. We do our best to try to get them cleaned up. I told you guys in a lot of my older videos that when that firearm comes here, it's mine. Okay, so what I mean by that is I'm gonna work on it like it's mine, okay? I don't care so much about you and if you're okay with engravings that are left over, or you're okay with spots left in your coating, that's one thing. But when I have it in my possession, I'm gonna run it and work on it and modify it like it's mine. And my stuff comes out as good or as great to perfection as we can get it within the parameters of what we're trying to do. So just want to encourage you guys that support smaller companies, support those companies and local shops that are near you that seem to do high quality work. I know several of them, okay? So obviously our barrels are sent out. We send those out to companies that we support. You know, we've gone through a lot of different barrel companies throughout the years, and a lot of them, they're just not on our list anymore. We do not send them barrels. We've had some kind of an incident or some kind of an overall coating adhesion problem. And the good company is like, yeah, maybe we missed something during quality control, but they're so quick to want to, you know, replace a coating. Let me get it back. Let me do a repair on it, you know, and they're really quick to want to correct the problem, versus a lot of the other companies are like, we don't really care. You know, that's not really what we're after. And we are just talking about barrel coatings, but there happen to be a lot of other companies out there that do the same thing. They do Cerakote coloring or gun coat coloring or some of the other versions of coloring that are out there, and they really just don't do that great of a job. We seem to see a lot of work come through the door that's already been colored
And I don't know whether it's, you know, a home user doing it or it was a company that did it, but some of it's really, really rough. And like I said, we do recommend other companies. We outsource some of the stuff like the camos and the patterns and stuff, the cryptic stuff, because we don't do it. It's a very competitive market. We try to stay out of that market. But what we do want to do is make sure that we're pointing you in the best possible direction in order for the best completion of work. So it comes from us, we do the best work we can, and then we point the finger and you say, you need to go over there and you need to get it colored because we've tried a lot of people and we just don't like a lot of people. So at the end of the day, we're going to point you to the correct person that's going to match the quality of service on your coating that we did on the slide. Now, of course, we do all the single colors and the battle worn in-house. You guys have seen a lot of those, especially if you've been following us over on our Instagram. But guys, I just kind of want to take a moment here and just, that's really what I wanted to tell you guys, is that quality of service seems to be a little bit higher here. Yes, the turnaround time may not be quite as quick, even though we have a 2 to 3 day turnaround on time on optics, a 1 day turnaround time on just slide coloring. So there happen to be some quick things, but on some of these bigger projects, we'll do our best to get them turned out, but really we're after the quality. At the end of the day, you're never going to remember how long it took for you to get your item back if the quality of work was good, and we're still in that 2 to 3 week turnaround time. If it turns out being a month, we're starting to fall into where all the other companies are, and now we've got a problem. So most of our stuff is going to be somewhere between that 1 and 3, 2 to 3 week turnaround time, unless we're talking about a barrel coating. So we still seem to be in that satisfaction rate of where people are after what they like. But once again, optic and color is usually a 2 to 3 day turnaround, 2 to 3 business day turnaround. And if it's just slide coloring, it's a single day turnaround. So I don't know if you guys knew that. You are able to go to the webpage. You are able to go to service, go down to the bottom, additional services you can check out right there for coloring. It's a 1 day turnaround, okay? So the day in which we receive the package, it's 1 business day. So within 24 hours, you'll get tracking, it ships back out. So if you're after something quick like that, we're probably the company that you want to use. We do take pride in the work that we do, obviously, as we're talking about here. But really, I would encourage you guys to go back, watch a lot of our older YouTube videos. We've done a lot of changes from then to now. Of course, that means from now to the future, we'll be even progressively getting better at what we do. That's what we try to do here, is significantly get better at each and every project. And it seems as though the work flows a little bit smoother when you're really taking the extra time. You know what you're looking for. You know how to deburr. You know how to clean. You know how to clean up. You know how to get it prepped for coloring. You know what it should look like when it's colored. So we end up saving a lot of those extra times and a lot of those negative steps that some of the other companies just skip over because they don't care. So support that company that wants to work for you. It's just my wife and myself. Both of our cell numbers are on the webpage. You are able to text, call, or email. We recommend emailing because that's how we do process orders. You feel free to text us if you want, or Instagram or Facebook. You can hit us up on any of those, but we do usually process orders through email. So that way when there's a change to an order, or that way when there's a shipping address or something, we know where to locate you once that package does arrive. So that's kind of just how we process it. That would be the best way to do it. Guys, hopefully you enjoyed this project. No doubt it was something that we haven't seen before, especially the color. Real interesting on there. Big thanks to the customer for supplying some extra stuff in the box with the build. Does give us a little bit more of a background of you, your location, the items that you had sent, a little bit more personalization. Obviously, that's why we do the videos. This video, honestly, is really for the customer. Okay, a lot of you guys like it, a lot of you see it, encourages you guys to get some other stuff done, but at the end of the day, it's really just to kind of give thanks back to the customer. They sent something to us. We want to make sure that we do show the work. We want to make sure that they get to see the comments from other people. They get to see how many people liked it and thumbed up it and shared it. So there's a lot of opportunity there for when you send something in. If it's something that we haven't done before, we're probably going to turn a video out as long as it works with our schedule. So very, very cool opportunity there. Definitely use the contacts tab, fill that out, let us know what you want to have done. We will do our absolute best in order to answer those questions accordingly, and just try to process that order the best we can. Always feel free to ask us what that turnaround time is. Some months are quicker than other months. We've got things like when holidays come, we got a lot of buyers. When tax time comes, we got a lot of buyers. So we find that some of those times might be a little bit slower on some of the projects, but you're talking about, May, June, July, August, September. It's usually pretty fast. A lot of that stuff is in, it's out. Go to our Facebook. You're going to realize that people post comments on there like, yeah, he told me it was a 2 to 3 week turnaround time and I got it in 4 days. Because we tell you that because we don't know what our schedule looks like. When we process an order for a customer, we don't know when it's going to arrive, okay? So we might have 30 slides here, or we might have 5 big projects here, okay? And sometimes those are 2 different numbers, but at the end of the day, 5 big projects may take the same as 30 or 40 small projects. So we try to tell people it could be a 2 to 3 week turnaround time. I literally have had stuff come in the mail at 11 and it's left at 3, and I told customers that it was going to be a 2 to 3 week turnaround time because it could be. ever remember it being that long, but there's a possibility it could be. So our expectations here are somewhat realistic, but you're probably going to be surprised on what actual turnaround time is an actual, the time that it takes to get something processed and gone through. So communication is key with us, obviously, and so is quality. So those are the two things that we target mostly because those are the most important. We want the highest quality. We want to make sure that we both know what we're doing. We both make sure that we know in the end of the day what you send in and what's going to come back. So those are very, very key. So feel free to target us for any of those questions that you guys may have. Follow, share, like, you know how it goes. We've got a lot of big projects coming up, so just kind of stay tuned and we'll see what we come up with.